Hey guys, Watson here, back with another review, ramble, achievement talk, this time for Metaphor ReFantazio. So this came out this year, 2024, made by Atlas, and to be honest, my game of the year. Absolutely 100% my game of the year. The music for the game is amazing, the gameplay is fantastic. It's everything you want in a turn-based RPG. It's not like limited in the way that some of the older Final Fantasy games are with its turn-based stuff. There's quite a lot of strategy that goes with it. The characters were all really well written. Obviously, quite a lot of people like Hulkenberg. I don't think there's a poorly written character in the game. No, I wouldn't say that. Like, Luis is very fitting as like an enemy. There's quite a lot of twists and turns in the story that make you go, oh, okay, hang on a minute, wasn't expecting that. There's been so many memes about like the battle music as well, which is done really well in that quite early on in the game it's explained to you that the battle music is something that the fairy Gallica is actually kind of putting straight into the main protagonist's head. So only the main protagonist can hear it, but it's like kind of like his own sort of iPod. It's really cool the way that they did that to explain, like, yeah, the music's there, the main character can actually hear it. It's not something that's actually done very often in most games, as far as I couldn't tell you which any game that like does that, other than the obvious ones like GTA or Saints Row, where it's obvious it's on the radio in the car, so you know the characters are listening to it, sort of thing. Whereas this is like with most fantasy RPGs, like the music's kind of there in the background anyway for the for the player, and in this case, like, the main character can hear it as well, which was pretty cool. And the archetype system is just so well done. Like, just building up the bonds with the characters, unlocking the various different archetypes to learn new jobs, so that you can learn new skills and stuff. And then as you build up your experience with the various jobs and continue to build up like your social aspect with the other characters, unlocks new variations of the jobs, with better skills and stuff like that. So it's all really well interlinked in with the story. Yeah, just I had such a fun time playing through the game. And then there's like, also, on top of that, if you are over-leveled for the area, if you're higher level than the enemies, the character will just attack them sort of in the overworld and will just kill them off straight away, so you don't have to go through all these fights with stuff that's ridiculously lower level than you anyway, so that you don't get much experience points and stuff like that. So it really like thinks about your personal time as well. But yeah, like I really just really enjoyed playing the game. Everything just sat really well. Yeah, I can't talk about it highly enough. So let's go on to the achievements. Hopefully talking about the achievements will jog my memory a bit of more stuff to talk about. So we start off with stunning the enemy. So as I talked about before, if you attack the attack enemies in the overworld, you can stun them, and then you can go into a fight that way, and they will be stunned when you go into a fight. And then you get a free turn, which is kind of cool. Meet your contact in the northern border fort it's story related. Basically, you go to the northern border fort, things happen, and then you meet your contact. Obtain the follower. So the social links in the game are follower links. It's basically people that are just following you and whatnot. You build up like a social link with your followers, and you unlock various different job archetypes and stuff like that. Completed the Nord Mines. The Nord Mines is just, again, it's a story related plot point where you have to go through the mines to get back to the main city. Use a synthesis skill. So having particular job archetypes equipped for your characters will create, in some cases, a synthesis skill. These skills use up more of the battle points. So you get four turns basically before it's like the opponent next turn. You can use up 2 at once, or sometimes 3 at once, to do a more powerful attack using 2 of the characters rather than just using the 1. They usually have like a nice, cool graphic to them as well. Ended 50 battles without taking damage. Self-explanatory. You just need to do 50 battles without taking any damage. Completed the Regolith Grand Cathedral. This is where the calendar aspect of the game comes in. Basically, you need to defeat the boss in the Grand Cathedral within a certain amount of days. So yeah. Mastered an archetype. As I said before, the archetype's like a job system in the game. Mastering the various archetypes gets you stat bonuses. You learn various skills and stuff that you can then use with different archetypes. So you can have like a fire spell on a soldier based archetype. Subjugated a bounty. One of the side quests in the game is bounties. You have to go to certain places and defeat certain bosses and stuff. I mean, it's how bounties work in most games. Bought an item on discount. So on Idle's Day, if I'm remembering this correctly, items can be bought from shops at a discount. You can buy potions and stuff for cheaper. Inflicted ambush damage against stunned enemies 100 times. So if you stun an enemy, as I said previously with the stun one, you will go into battle and start off by doing a certain amount of damage. I think it's like a third of the health straight away. And then on top of that, then you then get a free round against the enemy whilst they're stunned. Stole an item from an enemy, so once you get the thief archetype, you can steal. Having a higher agility than the enemy allows you to steal, basically. Self-explanatory. Kriegante Castle is the next story plot point. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into spoiler territory with this. It's story related. Defeated 10 elementers. So occasionally, whilst you are roaming around dungeons and stuff, you will find these floating balls of elements. There's one for, I think, each element. You just have to defeat 10 of them. They're usually harder to defeat than normal enemies. They will run, usually after the first turn. You can stun them in the same way. They have more HP. Defeating them, you don't get much experience points for your character, but you do get more job experience points, and you get quite a lot of the mag currency as well. There's 2 different types of currency. There's mag, which is used for unlocking like archetypes and skills and stuff, and then obviously there's money, which is used to buy potions and the like. Purified a piece of equipment. You can go to the church to purify a piece of equipment to make it stronger. It's like you use blessed water and stuff like that. You need to have a certain level for your social skills at that point to be able to do it. I think it's like level 2 in wisdom, potentially. Yeah, you just go to the church, you pay money, you give them items, and then they'll purify a piece of equipment and it'll be a little bit better. I didn't particularly use this during the game, but it's an option. Completed the Chardarius. I probably just said that wrong, but yeah. Again, story related, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Performed a special experiment, so once you unlock the Masked Dancer, you can perform special experiments in Moore's library. Combining various items and stuff will get you different masks for the Masked Dancer. Once you unlock the Summoner class, you can combine items to get more summons as well. Complete the Dragon Temple, again, story related. Consulted Gallica 100 times. I love that the achievement is called Hey Listen. Hey Listen is obviously something that Navi says in Ocarina of Time a lot whenever she wants to try to get your attention. Ocarina of Time is one of my top 3 favourite games of all time, so seeing a nod to that in the achievements was pretty cool. Just talk to Gallica 100 times. You can literally just stand in one spot and continuously just talk to her. Ontario Opera House completed. That again is story related, so I won't go into too much detail. Spent a total of 100,000 Reeve using skills that consume money. So the merchant archetype and I can't remember the name of its better form. There's merchant and then there's the next form after that. You can unlock skills that allow you to throw money at enemies to do almighty damage to them. Pretty useful when you're sort of early in the game, when you're trying to conserve MP, because it doesn't use MP, it uses money, and money's quite easy to get. I think there's a 500 Reeve skill, and then there's a 2000 Reeve skill. Obviously, the 2000 one does more damage, but yeah, once you get to 100,000 Reeve, you'll unlock the achievement. Visit all the towns. It is possible to miss towns if you are not actually looking for them properly and doing all the side quests and stuff. But yeah, there's quite a few towns that you can go to that are outside like the main cities and stuff. Studied the Prince archetype. That is a sort of end game archetype job that you unlock that is quite heavily story related again, so I won't go into much detail. Used 50 different types of synthesis skills. I completely read this wrong when I first looked at it and thought it was just use 50 synthesis skills, so I was using the same skill over and over again and was wondering why it wasn't unlocking. And then I looked again and it was like use 50 different ones. So there's hundreds. There must be at least 100 different synthesis skills that you can unlock. The Prince archetype's pretty useful for this as well, because having the Prince archetype unlocks the synthesis skills for all of the jobs. So like previously, if you needed to have a soldier and a mage and you didn't have a mage, the Prince substitutes in for like the mage job, so you can get access to all the synthesis skills available, so that makes it really easy. Collect all the drawings during the journey, so as you travel around, Neurus will do drawings of specific locations these don't take any extra time. They're usually on the way to locations. You'll stop by in like a point of interest and stuff, and Norris will draw a picture, and you can give the picture to Maria. You don't particularly get anything for doing it, but it's cool. Overcome all the trials to defeat Luis. Self-explanatory. Finish the game. Successfully challenged the test of courage at the highest difficulty. It's not actually finished the game. It's near the end of the game. It's story related again, so I'm not going to go into any detail. I think you have to pick particular options when talking to him and stuff like that. So, successfully challenged the test of courage at the highest difficulty. At the second town you go to, which name escapes me completely, there is a bungee jump that you can do. Completed the bungee jump 3 times will get you this achievement. It will use up part of the day if you do this, and you can only do it at night, I think, if I remember correctly, so you will be wasting a little bit of time by doing this as well. Skybound Avatar is endgame dungeon. Max out all the followers ranks, so as I said before, you can talk to various different followers. They all have 8 ranks to them. Getting the ranks up will get you more archetypes. Getting more archetypes will make the character stronger, so doing all these is good. The difference between this and Persona with its like social aspects is that with Persona you have to pick particular answers to make the character like you a bit more before you go on to the next sort of beat for that social link, whereas this one it condenses it down and just goes, you can just carry on as long as like you've got the right social level. So like if your wisdom's like level 3 or your imagination's level 4 or something like that. So mastered all the archetypes of the protagonist, so the main character just has to master every single archetype. You obviously have to max out all the follower rankings to unlock all the archetypes as well. Brought about true peace, so end of the game. Travel a significant difference by blade riding, so once you get into the first town you can find out that you can, through magic, Gallica will allow you to travel around on your sword as if it's a skateboard. You just have to do a significant distance. I no idea how long that is. I just kind of used the elastic band and let it go around in a circle whilst I went out and got a tyre changed on my car. Help cook a meal at the inn with Maria. This you have to do before like the end point of the game, otherwise you won't be able to do it. There's a certain cut-off point. Just at some point go back to the inn and cook a meal with Maria and you'll get the achievement. Made all possible gold beetle exchanges. There are, I believe, 50 gold beetles in the game. It's important to point out as well that if you don't trade in any gold beetles on one of your playthroughs and you go back and play through again, you can pick up those gold beetles a second time. So for me, I finished the game with something like, I think I had 28 gold beetles and I never went and traded them in. And then once I started New Game Plus for another achievement a bit further up, I still had the 28 gold beetles and was able to pick up more gold beetles in the same places where they would have been anyway. So you can get more and more and more gold beetles. But there's, once you trade in all 50, you can then, any extras you trade in for, like, I think it's Arcane Dragon's Blood. Finish reading all the books. So when you're traveling around in the Walker, there's a bookshelf with various different books that you can read. Every time you add a new character to your party, they will add a new book. It takes, I think it's 3 3 turns to read through an entire book, so like 3 half days. There's also a particular character in Brylehaven that you can talk to that will give you a book as well, whilst you are in Brylehaven to read. You've got to read that one as well. On my first playthrough, I missed it completely. Had no idea it was there. Got it on the second playthrough. Win 30 consecutive gold class battles at the Colosseum. If you're playing it on New Game Plus, which is what I did, that it was easy. There wasn't any difficulty to that challenge whatsoever. You just need to do 30 consecutive battles. Create all summoning vessels and masks. Again, with this one, if you have unlocked any summons or masks, it carries over progress in New Game Plus, so you can unlock the rest of the summons and the masks. So you don't need to worry about doing them all in one playthrough. If you're gonna do 2 playthroughs, made all the recipes. Same with this one. If you've completed 5 recipes in one playthrough and decide you do New Game Plus, you can do the other, I think it's 15 recipes in the second playthrough. Once you've completed all of the recipes, it does then unlock one final secret recipe, which is very useful for defeating the red scale dragon from the Book of Apocalypse. This is the most difficult fight in the game. It's a super boss. I couldn't beat it normally, but there is a strategy that you can use that apparently is something that you can use in quite a few Shin Megami Tensei games. When you have completed all the recipes, you unlock a final recipe that's the Sublime Spoonful, I think it was called. Something similar to that. Basically, this gives you 4 extra turns for combat. So you can do your 4 turns, use another one, do your 4 turns, use another. And you can keep just pounding away at the red scale dragon. When I finally defeated the red scale dragon using this method, I did it with the red scale dragon never hitting me. Didn't touch me. I got the bonus experience points for it. So unlock the entire map. This is basically you have to go to every single different location. I must have missed 1 or 2 on the first playthrough. I know the runners all count as being like places on the map, and I didn't do all of those, so it's most likely those that I missed on the first playthrough. But yeah, you need to make sure you go to all the runners as well. Defeat Destroyer Chadarius, wielder of true power. So this is the final boss. Basically, when you're going up to the final boss, there are, in that area, there's various different bosses that you can go and fight, which will weaken the final boss if you defeat them, and you will get a bunch of like the best weapons in the game when you defeat these bosses. So my first playthrough, I did that. I got all the really good weapons and stuff, and then for the second playthrough, I didn't do that, and then just went and defeated him. He didn't stand a chance. I was far too powerful at that point. And then I also had Sublime Spoonfuls left as well, so I used a couple of those. Completed all the quests. There's loads of missable quests. Absolute loads of missable quests. You need to make sure that the best way to do it is using a guide for a second playthrough. Once you do a New Game Plus, just like use a guide. Make sure you get all the quests. Want to debate against every candidate. The guide that I was using didn't mention all the debates for the candidates, so luckily I accidentally made a second save just before, like on the day when you're supposed to talk to one of these candidates. So I was very lucky in that I didn't have to do a third playthrough. I only had to do like part of a third playthrough. And then acquired all achievements, which, I mean, it's self-explanatory. You're gonna get all the achievements. But yeah, Metaphor ReFantazio, I can't speak highly enough of. It's, if you're an RPG fan, then like definitely play this game. It's so good. Just everything about it, the story, how it's all like, there's loads of politics that go on, and it's just like how anybody can be like the ruler and stuff like that, and all the like little twists and turns that they put in the story, and it's just so good. It's so good, really, really. If you enjoy RPGs, go and play it. But yeah, that's my ramble about Metaphor ReFantazio. As always, if you do enjoy this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more rambles, and I will see you in the next one.